All right, so we're diving into some fascinating stuff you sent over from RoleCatcher about leather goods design. And I gotta say, looking at what you chose, it's clear you're not just interested in like the handbags and the wallets. You want to like really get under the skin of this career.
Yes, spot on. You're interested in the creative sparks of the technical skills, the
Hmm.
pressures, the rewards, like the whole shebang.
Exactly. And we'll uncover all those hidden skills no one really talks about, what climbing that career ladder actually looks like, and
Yeah.
even how AI is impacting things. Because I gotta admit, when I think leather, I don't usually think high tech.
Oh, prepare to be surprised.
Hmm.
We all tend to picture purses and wallets, but this field, it goes way beyond that footwear, car, interior, even puppet designs. Kind of wild when you think about it.
Puppet design. Really? Wow. Okay, now I'm picturing craftsmanship on a whole other level. And speaking of craftsmanship, one thing that jumped out from the roll catcher stuff was just the intensity of it all.
Yeah,
It
I know.
sounds fast-paced, demanding, and you need to handle feedback, well, let's just say diplomatically.
Oh, for sure. Remember those listings you highlighted, talking about 3D printing VR design? This is not your grandma's sewing circle anymore. It's about merging those old school techniques with cutting edge tech.
It's almost like you need the soul of an artist, but with a tech wizard's toolkit. That's a fascinating
You
combo.
get it? And you need some serious resilience. RoleCatcher wasn't joking about the constant feedback loop. You're working with technical teams, suppliers, and of course clients. Everyone's got an opinion.
Right, so it's not even just about having a good eye for design. You gotta communicate that vision to a whole bunch of different people. That's a whole skill set in itself.
It really is. And that's where those less obvious skills come in. Active listening, being able to communicate clearly, even a bit of persuasion. You're constantly negotiating, compromising, finding that sweet spot between your vision and what's actually doable.
Sounds like you gotta be on top of your game constantly. Now, I'm curious about the career path itself. Rollcatcher lays out a pretty clear picture, starting with a junior designer, and they actually mentioned using AI to analyze runway trends. Can you imagine learning the ropes while using cutting-edge tech to predict the next it bag?
It's mind-blowing how much has changed even in the last few years. But you're right, even with all these new tools, that junior designer role is still where you learn the foundations. You're assisting with trend analysis sketching, really getting a feel for the whole design process from the ground up.
So it's kind of like a paid apprenticeship. You're getting your hands dirty and soaking up all that knowledge at the same time.
Exactly. And then you usually move up to a leather goods designer role where you're taking on more responsibility.
Hmm.
You're leading the design process, creating prototypes, even presenting your ideas to stakeholders. That's where those communication and persuasion skills really become crucial.
Right, because now you're not just responsible for the design itself. You got to convince everyone else that your vision is the right one.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
It takes confidence and being able to articulate why your ideas will work for the market.
And if you're really killing it, you reach the top lead leather goods designer. Now you're not just designing a single bag, you're setting the whole creative direction for a brand.
Exactly. And that's where all that stuff about big picture thinking comes in.
Mm.
You're looking at seasonal trends, what the competition's doing, the brand's whole identity.
So it's less about your own personal style and more about understanding what the brand is all about and turning that into a whole collection.
You nailed it. It's a whole different level of strategy. And it's not even just design anymore. You're managing budgets, leading teams, making sure your creative vision actually makes sense for the business side of things.
Wow, so we're talking serious leadership skills at that point. You're like the CEO of the design department.
Pretty much. And this might be a good time to loop back to the AI stuff. Remember how RoleCatcher was talking about using it for CVs and interview practice? That's just scratching the surface.
Oh, yeah. It's easy to get caught up in the design aspect, but we can't forget about the business side. How's AI shaking things up there?
It's everywhere. AI is being used for trend forecasting, even streamlining production. Imagine, instead of spending weeks sketching designs by hand, you could use AI to whip up tons of variations based on your ideas.
So it's like having a super-powered design assistant who handles all the boring stuff. That frees you up to focus on the creative stuff.
Exactly. And that's just one example. AI can analyze mountains of data to spot trends before they happen, predict what customers want, even personalize designs for specific people.
The possibilities are crazy. Speaking of possibilities, one thing RoleCatcher really emphasized was sustainability. That seems to be huge in the industry now.
Absolutely. People really care about the environment and how their stuff is made.
Yeah,
Remember that listing you mentioned about vegan leather? That's a perfect example of how things are changing.
right. It's not just about making something that looks good. It's about making it the right way.
Exactly. You have to think about the materials, the manufacturing process, the entire life cycle of what you create.
So it's like you're not just a designer. You're an innovator, an environmentalist, a storyteller all in one.
I love that. You're crafting a whole story with your designs, sharing your values and your vision for a better future.
It's about making a statement, not just a fashion statement. Now, with all this talk about AI and sustainability, I'm wondering how you even break into this field. RoleCatcher mentioned internships and apprenticeships. Is that still the best way in, even with all the tech?
100%. Think of it this way. You can read all you want about working with leather, but nothing beats actual experience.
Like the difference between reading a cookbook and actually getting in the kitchen, right?
You got it. Internships and apprenticeships let you learn from the pros, try different techniques, find your own style. Plus, you're making connections and getting your foot in the door.
And speaking of getting your foot in the door, RoleCatcher also talked about building a strong portfolio.
It's make or break. Your portfolio is like your design resume, but way more visual and exciting. What kind of stuff should someone aiming for leather goods design include?
Yeah, it's like your chance to show off what you can do, what should be in there.
It's all about showing your range and what makes you unique. Include a mix of things, sketches, patterns, 3D models, even finished products if you've got them.
So it's not just about pretty pictures, it's about showing how you think and how you take an idea and make it real.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to let your personality show through. Remember, you're not just trying to impress people, you're trying to connect with them.
Right, they want to see what makes you tick. Okay, so with all this talk about AI, can technology help with building a portfolio too?
Definitely. There's some really cool AI tools out there that can help you create professional portfolios, analyze what makes other portfolios successful, even give you feedback on your work.
That's amazing. It's like having a virtual mentor in your pocket.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's just another example of how technology is changing everything about design, from the creative process to the business side.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, but so exciting. One more thing, though, with all this emphasis on tech, is there still a place for good old-fashioned networking?
Absolutely. I'd even say it's more important than ever. Building real relationships with people in the industry is priceless.
So it's not just showing up at events and handing out cards, it's about making those connections count.
For sure. Networking can open so many doors, internships, collaborations, even job offers. But it's not just about what you get out of it. It's about giving back, sharing what you know, and helping other designers.
It's about building a community, supporting each other. That makes sense, especially in such a competitive field. It sounds like it takes a special kind of person to really thrive in leather goods design.
It does. It takes passion, dedication, and a willingness to never stop learning. But for the right person, it's an amazing career.
Yeah.
Incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially when you see your designs out in the world actually being worn and used. That's got to be a pretty amazing feeling, right?
Oh, it's the best. Knowing you took an idea from a sketch to a real product that someone loves, that makes all the hard work worth it.
It's like you're creating more than just a product. You're creating like a feeling, an experience, a statement. And with all this tech changing so fast, who knows what the future holds for leather goods design?
Oh, it's an exciting time to be in the field, that's for sure. Imagine like collaborating with AI to come up with completely new materials.
Yeah.
We've already got vegan leather. What if you could design a handbag that glows in the dark? Or changes color with your mood?
Okay, now you're talking. That's next level stuff. My mind is blown.
And that's just the materials. Imagine using AI for shoes that fit perfectly or designing a bag based on someone's personal style.
So we're moving away from mass production and towards mass personalization. That's a game changer. But with all this AI stuff, what advice would you give to someone listening who wants to get into this field?
I'd say don't be intimidated by the tech. Use it to your advantage. Learn faster, explore new ideas, be more efficient. But at the end of the day, never forget the human element.
Right, because it all comes back to craftsmanship, creativity, and passion.
Exactly. Soak up all the knowledge you can get, your hands dirty, experiment. Don't be afraid to mess up. That's how you learn and grow.
Those are words to live by. Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of leather goods design, I mean, one thing is crystal clear. This is so much more than just bags and wallets. It's this amazing blend of artistry, technical skills, and business smarts.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's tough, but seriously rewarding for anyone who's passionate about design and pushing boundaries.
It's been awesome exploring this career path with you. And for you, dear listener, as you learn more about leather goods, design what speaks to you the most. Is it merging traditional techniques with cutting-edge tech, creating sustainable and ethical products? Or maybe it's the chance to make your own mark on the fashion world. Whatever sparks your passion, follow it. Your design journey is waiting.